So one of the biggest stories of the summer was an incident caught on video, and I reported on this, and a lot of other channels reported on this, about a mom who had gotten in an argument with a guy at a fast food restaurant on the south side. You guys already know, Maxwell's, and the guy got violent with her, started hitting her. Her son came back and shot the guy and killed him. Now, they were charged with murder, the mom and the son. Okay, and this was a big story over the summer. And prosecutors had charged him with murdering this guy at the fast food restaurant, but entirely dropped the case only a few days after the video popped up that showed the guy physically attacking her. So on June 27th, this was only one day after the prosecutors dropped the charges, there were a bunch of reporters at a press conference, and the woman, whose name was Carlicia, and her attorney said that they were going to sue the city and the cops who had investigated the case. Apparently, this was getting attention even outside of Chicago. Nicki Minaj was going to pay for the son's college, but the attorney, his name was Brandon Brown, he said that additional lawsuits might be filed too. So she was at the press conference making her first public comment. She said, "I've experienced pain in many ways I never would have thought." She said, "Never in a million years would I have imagined being brutally attacked, beaten, and then arrested." So just 9 days after the press conference, she filed a motion to dismiss the entire case. So the motion is expected to be reviewed at the case's first scheduled court hearing on June 18th. As you guys know, Carlicia and her 14-year-old son were at Maxwell's, which is at 11656 South Halstead. Prosecutors initially said the boy remained in the car and that Carlicia, who was a concealed carry holder, left her firearm in the glove compartment. While Carlicia stood at the order counter, a 32-year-old named Jeremy arrived at the restaurant. They had never met before. And I don't know how things went bad. I don't know who said what to who. But anyways, things started to escalate. So when Carlicia and her son were charged, the prosecutor said that she texted her son outside and pointed at Jeremy. The boy entered the store with his hands in his hoodie pocket, and Jeremy began punching Carlicia. During the assault, the 14-year-old pulled out Carlicia's gun from his hoodie and shot Jeremy. So Jeremy ran from the restaurant. The state claimed that Carlicia's son had followed Jeremy, and that Carlicia then ordered her son to shoot and kill him. So the boy continued firing at Jeremy, who died, and the prosecutor said during Carlicia's bail hearing on June 22nd that this was the reason, this is what it went down. But the entire event was recorded on a high-definition video with audio. So Chicago police released snippets of the video days after the shooting as they tried to identify the suspects. And Carlicia and her son, who have no criminal histories, surrendered to police. Now, 2 days after the prosecutors charged Carlicia and her son with murder, another video emerged on Twitter, and it showed a series of events that seemed to differ from what prosecutors had presented in court. And this is what I was telling you guys about. So Jeremy was highly animated in the footage, raising his arms and yelling at Carlicia. He was saying, "Lady, get your food." And Carlicia appeared to ask him to go back to his car. And he said, "Who? Get in the car?" So then he balled up his right hand. He said, "Get your food. If you say one more thing, I'm going to knock you out." So they continued to talk for a little bit. He said, "I'm going to knock you out." And he landed a full force punch on Carlicia, who was out of camera view. He kept on saying the same thing, "Say one more thing, I'm going to knock you out." And he punched her again twice. So then a gunshot rang out as he threw the third punch, and the video ended almost immediately. So it appears that she never told her son to go back to the car. She was telling Jeremy to go back to the car. So reaction to the video was immediate. People saw the woman being violently attacked and believed that her son fired a shot to protect her. The phone video went public on that Saturday, but by mid-Monday, prosecutors had dropped all charges against Carlicia and her son. So I had posted the video of the woman who recorded that video, and she was saying, what she saw in the restaurant. And there's a lot of other people, possibly in jail who could be exonerated if there was other video, that showed the full situation. But anyways, based on our continued review, they said in light of emerging evidence, today the Cook County State's Attorney's Office has moved to dismiss the charges against Carlicia and her 14-year-old son. Based upon the facts, evidence, and the law, we are unable to meet our burden of proof in the prosecution of these cases. So if that other video had not been released, she might still be sitting in there. We don't know, man. But Carlicia and her attorney held their press conference and filed suit against the city and the cops the next day, alleging malicious prosecution. Now, a lot of people were saying that she should just take the W and go. Just don't push it. Like, don't test, don't test her good fortune in this. Like, don't test her, the situation. Like, don't push anybody further because, she's being let go of this. Just, walk away from it. A lot of people were saying that, but intentional infliction of emotional distress was another thing for the lawsuit, and false arrest. So the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, which approved the charges, was not named as the defendant. So the following day, she appeared on a Facebook live stream that was hosted by that guy, Jedediah Brown. I had posted that on my channel. The video has been taken down, but I had put it on my channel, and she reviewed many details about her experiences since the fateful stop at Maxwell Street Express, and it was a good idea to take that video down. I think you don't necessarily want to have anything talking about the incident. You want to let the lawyer do all the talking. Like you don't want to say anything about even if it seems to be stuff that helps your side of the case and proves that you're innocent. You never want to talk about the case in public if you've got anything going on. Like you want to let the lawyer say everything. But anyways, she had revealed more details about her experiences. And one of the most surprising things was that although prosecutors said that her son stayed in the car while she went into the restaurant, she said that she told him to return to the car so he would not be exposed to the argument. So near the end of the 36-minute stream, Jedediah Brown spoke with somebody off screen, but the unseen person could not be heard clearly. He asked the person if they wanted to say it on camera, then personally provided a stunning claim. He said Carlisha never texted her son to ask him to do anything. So that directly contradicted the prosecutor's allegation during the bond hearing that during the course of the verbal altercation, she had began texting her son and pointing at him outside. Now, I didn't see her ever send a text on the video. I don't know, maybe some people did, but anyways, the claim, from the people that were talking with Jedediah that day and the claim from the prosecutors were two different things. So Jedediah said she never told him, she never texted him, she never called him, she never asked him to do anything. She protected her son, she told him to go to the car. So at that point, Carlisha walks into the camera view and she says, for a fact, a big fact, and anybody who truly knows me, okay, my kids are my everything. I wouldn't dare have my son. I already knew something was off, but like I said, for the most part, I would never have put my kids in a situation like that, either one of them. So that's according to her on the camera stream. She said, I didn't even want my son to witness it. That's why I said to go to the car, because he overheard the argument. So Jedediah Brown appeared ready to say even more, but he abruptly ended the stream after a woman was heard crying off camera. So Carlisha's attorney, Brandon Brown, filed a motion to dismiss the next week. According to court records, the brief motion offers no reason for the request other than to say that it's the plaintiff's desire. So Carlisha was asking the judge to dismiss the case without prejudice, meaning that she could refile the lawsuit within 1 year. So that's the rules. So that's what's going on right now, and you guys let me know what you think in the comment section, man. If you guys saw either of the videos, the ones that the police were going off of, or the one that the woman had posted. I don't remember ever seeing her texting her son. As far as her telling him to go to the car, she's saying that it's because she didn't want him exposed to that argument. At any rate, he was attacking her, and at the end of the day, he started the whole physical violence part. Words is not an excuse to, start hitting somebody. So, he's hitting her, he's physically threatening her life. Now, again, if that other video had not been released, who knows what would have happened. You got to be very careful, though, because I don't know what happened in the parking lot. I don't know what happened in the parking lot. That's the part that to me is kind of a mystery, but whatever happened in this case, you got to be very careful about lethal force if the person is already subdued. Now, as far as I know, this son only shot him one time, but I don't know. Once a person's already subdued, lethal force is no longer justifiable. And it's tough because in the heat of the moment, adrenaline is pumping. You're not thinking. Your whole body is just thinking survive right now. And, sometimes a person can keep going even after the attacker is already subdued and has been rendered unable to further cause harm. And the law is not necessarily going to understand your physical instincts to survive, and it's just going to say, well, okay, he was already down, and you kept going at that point. There was a well-publicized case. There was a a guy who he'd come in to rob, I think, a pharmacy. He had stuck the pharmacy up at gunpoint, and the pharmacist, who was, I mean, he's not like a street dude, you know, this is a pharmacist, like a highly educated guy. He had shot the guy who was sticking up the pharmacy. Then he just kept shooting. After the guy fell down, he kept on shooting, and they charged and convicted the pharmacist of murder. Okay, because once the guy fell after like the first shot, and then the guy kept shooting. And so the fact that he, you know, it may have been adrenaline, it may have just been, he may have just blanked out and just kept on squeezing his finger, you know, in a panic or something like that. So you got to be very careful. I know it's very difficult to be thinking that in the heat of the moment in that situation. That's the hard part, that a lot of times the law is not going to understand. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's your life, so I mean, you can do whatever you want. But it's more of an issue, I think, with physical fights. You know, a person is getting beaten, or you know, people are throwing hands or whatever, and then one of the guys just keeps on swinging after the guy's already, you know, subdued and ends up beating him to death. That's typically where I see this more. But even a cop who keeps on firing the gun after the guy is down, like Jason Van Dyke, you know, I mean, he went down for that. Now he didn't get a very long sentence, but he still went to prison. So, yeah, there's no legal excuse for that. That's not going to be defensible before a jury. So you guys let me know what you think, though, in the comment section, man. I don't know if that happened in this case, though. It'd be interesting for me to know how many gunshots were in this guy. That's one thing that I've never heard. If there was only one bullet in him, then case closed. It was all self-defense. But if there was more than one bullet, then, you know, that's something where, I mean, you know, the mom and the son got off, you know what I'm saying? Because if he fell after the first shot, after that, can't keep going. So you guys let me know what you think, though, man. This is your boy Winnie C. Report. I'm out.